Hello, design enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Design Tips and Sips with me, Anna Gibson from AKG Design Studio. And today, let's grab our sips. I have my cozy coffee, and I'm excited to share this episode with Steve Gurney. We are today in Reston, Virginia, and we did an extensive project here for our client with 3 accessible bathrooms, a surprise in the office, and also an accessible family room. And if you are talking and thinking, what the hell is accessible family room, which means you can actually run a wheelchair or a walker around here, and you can sit comfortable, but you can also have yourself elevated and pushed out of the chair to help the person that needs a little bit of a push to get out of the chair. So there's a lot of different tricks and tips that we can offer you today for the accessible design. So grab your drinks and let's get started. All right, so I am excited, guys, to introduce you to Steve Gurney. He is an amazing community partner, and I will let him introduce himself.
Yeah, so my name's Steve Gurney, and I'm the founder of the Positive Aging Community and the Positive Aging Sourcebook. And how I got into my career was my grandfather needed a nursing home when I was in college, and I saw what my family had to go through, and I was shocked that there wasn't a resource out there to help families like mine. So I put together this little guide, and here I am 35 years later. And Anna, I am so blown away at what you do and feel so honored to be invited into your client's home here today. I took a quick preview, but I can't wait to get a tour from you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm really excited because, like, we talk about in our podcast and YouTube channel, we talk a lot about accessibility and aging in place, and we keep explaining people. And I think now, at least in the design industry, we now not even call it aging in place. We actually call it living in place, because you don't know what time of your life things are going to change. You don't have to be 70 years old for something to happen. I always bring the example of my husband, that is a very, very young man that played rugby and broke his leg for absolutely in bits, and he was incapacitated for 3 months while his recovery. And we did not have grab bars, we didn't have elevators. When we came back from the hospital, he literally, because he is a very strong man, he literally hoisted himself, going backwards, literally doing backward push-up to go up the stairs, because the stairs were also not wide enough to our friends that came to help him to go up. It was not wide enough. So he's like, you hold my leg, I will take myself. But then we had a really, really small shower. I had to put temporary grab bars, and he was pretty much locked up in our bedroom for a good month, because going up and down the stairs was not a possibility. And even the bathroom, we had to do a lot of temporary things. So I think a lot of us don't think about it until it's too late.
No, and that's what we've seen too, is that folks don't want to think about this.
Right.
And but when you live through an experience like you lived through, what you realize is that many of our home environments are not designed for everybody to live in. They're designed for healthy home builders,
yes,
the guys that built the home,
yes,
to go up and down a bunch of steps. And when you make these modifications, you actually make environments that are better for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I think that many of us, when we talk about this topic of aging or living in place, we say, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. And the time when everybody is ready is when they're in the car driving home from the hospital, like you and your family member. And that is the last time that you want to have a remodeling crew coming in and ripping out your home and making changes. If we can make these changes now and anticipate the future, but hopefully we'll never fully need to recognize the use of this. But we're adding value to our home. We're creating beautiful spaces. It's wonderful, and I love what you've done here, and can't wait to dive into the tour.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's actually what happened to Pat and Jay, because when unfortunately Jay got sick several years ago, Pat was in the emergency room, and while trying to care him and understand what's happening with her dear husband, she also had to hire a contractor to come and create an accessible bathroom. Unfortunately, the person that came in that claimed that he is certified in all kind of thing, really all he did was pull and replace. He did not remove the curb from the bathroom. He did not narrow the path to create a wider access. So really all that he did was really just did a haphazard remodel that really didn't help anything. And now they're back in the house, and it's created a lot of issues for them in the last several years. And this is why, like you said, a lot of people don't want to think about it. We don't think about our demise. We don't think about, things that are going to happen in the future. So a lot of times when we are working with our clients now, we future-proof it for them without them even knowing or understanding or doing little things. So of course, the trend of curbless shower is taking off. So we are all about, it's an amazing design feature. So this is what we're going for, right? It's amazing design feature. It gives us opportunity to create beautiful floors with flow throughout bathrooms. So it's not really look like it's inaccessible issues, right? A lot of times I'm already going to be blocking the walls for future grab bars. So again, they're there. You don't see them. You don't need them anytime soon, but it's there. And the other biggest thing is expanding the door spaces as well. Because we're already remodeling, we're already touching the floor. Let's just, put a bigger door that if you do need to walk with a walker or help somebody in the future, you don't have to now rip up the floor, rip up the door, fix the floor, do all these things that just doesn't really make any sense. So, it's easy to think about these things when you're remodeling right now. Same thing is with your kitchen and even family room. So think about those little things that maybe in the future, and again, it's much easier and cheaper and cost effective to do it now while you're already doing it versus now going back and ripping. Because in this case, we had to remodel the whole bathroom. So she remodeled one bathroom, which these costs are going up and up twice in the last 5 years, which is crazy, right? So.
And one really important thing that I think people need to realize is that they're often thrown into this environment, and who do they call? They call the guy that threw the back deck on 10 years ago.
Yep.
He can swing a hammer and nail, but trust me, folks, when you see the creativity that Anna and her team has done in this home, by no means do they understand all the products that you've utilized, all the thoughtful design, and you're educating yourself on a regular basis on how to create environments that can be accessible to all.
And beautiful at the same time and not feel like a hospital.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's a very specialized point of design. And so don't just immediately go back to your guy that threw the deck on. Talk to some experts like Anna who have been trained in universal design before you engage in that product, because it can save you in the long run.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And again, talking about hospitals, again, from our personal experience, my stepdaughter, my bonus daughter, she had a horrible health issue several years ago, lost both her legs. And when we talked to the county, they live in the UK, they want us to remodel this bathroom and literally cover it with linoleum. And again, talk about lifestyle. She's a young lady. She doesn't want to go into her bathroom every day and feel like she is back in the hospital. So, even though I was overseas, my husband was there, I kind of jumped in, help with selection of materials and designing the space that is going to be beautiful for her and her fiance to use every day, but not feel like it is like she's walking into a hospital space. And again, everybody has different needs. So for example, in their house also, we did blocking for grab bars, but she insisted she doesn't need them. She is a go-getter like the rest of the Gibsons, and she's okay with that, right? So there's a lot of modifications that we need to do that fit your lifestyle. What is coming, what is going to happen. So this is one of the biggest things that when we work with our clients, we need to make sure is what is the current lifestyle, how long you expecting to stay in the house, who else is going to be using it. So and make sure that it's really pretty and not feel like you're walking to another hospital room. So even I go to the depth of earth to find grab bars that don't look like grab bars, but don't feel like that you walk in and you're like, oh my God, this is like an accessible bathroom. So there's a lot of little things like that, but we try to put in there that is really going to make the space shine and not feel like you are pushing that accessibility on the client and the families. So now we have our homeowner Pat joining us, and we are going to talk to her about her experience and how everything led to creating those spaces and her experience. So you started talking earlier about how people are scared to kind of jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about so many people say they want to stay in their home for a lifetime, yet they don't think about making modifications before they need them. And what you've got here in your home is absolutely beautiful, but I'm interested in hearing your personal story.
Well,
what led this?
Part of it was originally, in 2019, my husband had a below-the-knee amputation. And I always stay with him in the hospital, and in that case, rehab. And it was like, oh my God, he's going to be using a walker. He's not going to be stable. What am I going to do? And I had to do it very fast. And so I found a construction company that took up the rugs and put the ramp in the garage. I said, I do not want the house to scream handicapped, And so this group accommodated me, but it looked what people think, which is,
institutional.
Grab bars. Yes, the grab bars were metal. There was nothing about it that was nice. And in a way, it was kind of an insult to my husband, because we love our home, we love our art, and, but I wasn't there and I didn't know anything. Anyway, who knew? And then the second time, so we did that. But the second time I wanted some additional things done. And the builder said, well, we have two designers, but they thought that Anna would be the correct one. And they were so right. They were so right, because I think what people don't understand is that you could renovate your house when you're in your 40s and do things to it that will accommodate you, when you really need the stuff.
Yeah.
And you never know. You could be 42, run a marathon, and, not be able to step into something. There's so many things. In my life, way before this time, I was very athletic, and, I needed shoulder surgery and hip surgery, and all that. And that is the life of active people.
Absolutely.
And so, but the thing that people don't know, and I think this is really where Anna comes in, is that you can do things beautifully. You can do things that don't scream, that you have a problem. You don't have to wait until you're, 75, 80 to do it. And one of the things that I thought was the most interesting is the grab bars. There are grab bars all over this house, but they're on a toilet paper roll. You just don't even notice them. And the ones that we have down here, which Anna got from Germany, but who would have that source?
Mm-hmm.
They look like sculpture.
Yes.
So that now, I don't need any of that stuff, but it's there. And when I have people over, they don't say, oh, what's wrong with you? And so I think that that's the problem. And the most brilliant thing was, well, there were a lot of brilliant things. But when Jay could, well, first we got the grips on the stairs, which, is fine. I mean, I'm glad that they're there when I have to run down with the dogs in the middle of the night and I'm barefoot. But, everybody, when Jay couldn't go up the stairs anymore, the feeling was you got to get one of those things that go up your stairs. Well, I love our art. I mean, we were not going to touch our art. And that's one of those things that I think also, screams that, you're compromised. And then Anna had this brilliant idea for this lift. And I said, the most important thing about that lift is that it has to be in a space that doesn't take away the art, the space, basically. And it's such a brilliant design. It plugs in the wall. We didn't need to get a building permit. It's small. It's unobtrusive. I mean, we found a great place for it. And we have very old dogs now, or one of them is very old. And I mean, obviously I don't need it. I'm getting less steps going up and down the stairs, but he needs it. So, at night, or if he happens to need to go up to, because they want to follow me to my office, we go in the lift. And I have friends that live in Rappahannock County, very good friends, and they have been struggling with, do we age in place? Do we move to a senior community somewhere? Would we move to where our children are, which is up in Ithaca? Or can we do something to our house? And when they saw that, they're like, perfect, because in their house, I couldn't go visit them. Jay and I, they're our best friends, like from forever. We could not visit their house because they had no way to access. And what they're doing now, it's too bad they didn't do it when Jay was alive, is they're putting a lift in their garage, because apparently that was the space
super easy,
they led into the house. So I think that people just don't know. I mean, they just absolutely have no idea what you can do, when you can do it, and that it's worth considering probably when you're younger. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about it before. That you want to life-proof your house, right?
Right.
Like I was talking about my stepdaughter and my husband that brought a lot of that personal experience. That I want to make sure that the space is beautiful, but is also customized, right? Jay has his own very specific problems, so we had to make sure that things are on the right side, because he was also almost blind in one eye.
Yeah,
so
we had an accident. He was blind in one eye.
Yeah, so like even within the universal world, like even though you have things that are okay, these are the standard, you still want to make sure what is the different abilities and what you actually need when you're doing the design. And that's why it's also important to look at people like me and also the resources that Steve and his community bring, because if you don't know about that, you just don't know, right? And you'd end up with all the stuff from.
Well, I think that the idea of being a designer who specializes in this is critical. People don't know about it. I mean, they absolutely don't know. I mean, I didn't know about it, you know.
Well, and what I like about your story is you started with what is probably a perfectly good construction remodeling company to put a deck on or to, add an addition, but how the benefit of having somebody that really understands this and also listens to your needs.
Right.
And the fact of the priority is we want a beautiful home. We want to maintain our art, but we still want to be safe and accessible.
Exactly. I mean, absolutely exactly. And, it needs to get out there. I mean, we're an aging population for sure. And you don't want to do it in an emergency, which is how I did it the first time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just they'd say something, I'd say, yes, do it,
And I think that's one thing to remind people of is that you and your husband lived a healthy, active lifestyle. None of us have a crystal ball.
Exactly.
And life threw you a curveball there. Mm-hmm. And, but it's hard to think about it, but you realize now that, oh, holy cow, we could have done these things.
Yeah.
Not everything, but you could have done some of those things. but none of us think that this is we're not going
Right.
to be the ones.
Right. And I mean, you never can know it. I mean, we had the most beautiful active life hiking, traveling around. I mean, I recently had to choose pictures for an invitation to Jay's Celebration of Life, which will be next fall. And which was, going through, your iPhone now has 17,000 pictures. And I went through his too. And I mean, it was extraordinary. I mean, everything was just bopping along. It's not like we didn't have some things that happened, just, the athletic injuries, things like that, but not the crash. I mean, not that there was a crash, but I mean, not that I never in a million years would have expected what happened to Jay within the last 5 years. It was all within, it started and it just got progressively worse. And I don't think anybody, nobody expects that.
But the fact is, I don't want to put words in your mouth,
Yeah.
but instead of being in an institutional setting, you got to spend your years together in the home that you love.
Because I'll tell you something, after going to rehab with him, I just would never ever put him in any kind of facility. And I mean, I could go on about that as a journalist.
That's a different conversation we can
right.
have.
But and I mean, really, it was just pure luck that I found on it. I mean, it was just pure. It was pure luck. Talk about karma. I mean, we've lived in Reston since '76, and I like people that are local. I mean, because you need to. The first townhouse we bought, I used a realtor that didn't know Reston, and it was a huge mistake. But I mean, because he just didn't know what else he could have shown me. And it's the same thing here, is that if, by chance, Anna was working with the builders and that they obviously saw my need, they said, well, of the people we work with, you definitely should work with Anna. But I don't know how people would find that.
But that's also important to look at the resources and look at people like Steve, that he has a really great, website and where he's sharing those resources and also reaching out to community to see where our research, and like we always said, don't keep me a secret. You heard it here, right?
Yeah. No, and I think Steve's resource. I've been getting your resource for years. But, I'm a reader and I'm a researcher. And I don't think that most people turn to resources. Yeah. I mean, there is such a wealth of information. And, I mean, if, people don't read, what can I say?
Yeah. But that's what, again, we like to collaborate with people like Steve and other people in the community to bring those people, bring that front and center. So you don't have to read. And a lot of us are on YouTube and podcasts. So
that's true.
Maybe that will help people that don't want to go through a website and look for it, bring that more visually and audible.
And I do think that younger people need to be brought in. I mean, you don't want people that are 78 and desperate. So I think, I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal that talked about how there is a huge growth of young men in their 50s and even younger getting heart attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you just never know.
Yeah. No. And we actually, we also talked about, because we put that grab bar in front for Jay versus in the back of the toilet. And we were joking. I'm like, look, when we ran our marathon or triathlon and we come back and everything hurts, like having that grabber to lift you from the toilet would have been so helpful.
No, that was great. I mean, we thought that he would use the arm of the storage.
Yes.
And he never did. I mean, he got up, with that grab bar. And of course, the grab bar on the toilet. I just think that there are so many really incredible, innovative inventions that fit right in anybody's house. And that's really the word that needs to get out.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. And hearing the personal stories like yours really make it a lot easier for people to digest
Yeah.
because you represent all of us in that life sends us in different paths,
Right.
and you can adapt and tap into resources and continue living a purposeful life no matter
Right.
what our age or ability.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Fed. I really appreciate your time and opening your beautiful house to us. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed our in-depth conversation about accessible and living in place home. And again, I'm Anna Gibson with AKG Design Studio. If you have a product or want to share any information such as this with our audience, please make sure to email me at info@AKG Design Studio. If you want to learn more about our design services, please check out www.akgdesignstudio. And until next time,